Morning guys, Monday the 28th of September. Maybe you can actually really see what I'm looking at, but this tree that was cut down quite significantly because part of it naturally came off a couple of months ago. I did wonder, will it grow anything back? I'm right at the top, I can see, just towards the left at the very top, some little green stems shooting out, which I was like, felt really good. I felt really positive. Or there is still some life force in it. It just made me sort of think, life's like that, isn't it? You just don't know whether something will perhaps still continue to thrive and live. Will it be resilient enough? Will it sort of grow or develop in a different way to the way it is? I was also watching the other day this new brain surgery program, and it was like, the one I saw was these amazing top brain surgeons. Can't even believe that how they do this job, the skill they have and the risks they take. But I suppose they only, to me, it appears a real big risk when you know your skill and your expertise. You're still taking a risk, obviously, but probably appears much smaller. But yeah, they were following this 12-year-old lad who had a benign tumour, but the tumour was right in the absolute total centre of his brain, and apparently these cases are like just so rare. But even though it was benign, because of where it was placed and the size and the impact it was having on his brain, they were going to have to operate, otherwise he was going to die. And I found the whole thing fascinating, to be quite frank. Personally, I don't know, when it comes to things like that, even just watching the actual surgery, I just find it really fascinating. But more than that, it was afterwards. This lad, he was really just very, pushing through. And when I remember at one point him trying to do something for the first time, and his mum saying, you did really well, do you feel you did really well? And he said something like, no, I can do better. And a part of me at first thought, don't be harsh on yourself, be kinder to yourself. And then actually there was another part of me that thought, I don't know, at this age, at this point in time, with what he was facing, maybe that that sort of attitude, that response of, no, I couldn't do better, was actually what is needed in his recovery. He needs to be able to sort of dig deep and go, no, I have to do better than for me to be able to push through. And within 3 weeks he was home. There was still a lot of recovery and healing to be had. You only saw part of it, but they showed him riding on his bike. I mean, not just like a little ride, significant. It was up and down grassy hills and so on. We've got a little girlfriend that he's known since primary school, and yeah, it was just really, really hopeful. But also the surgeon was saying, that when you're younger as well, you are more likely to recover, your cells and the various, I don't know the specifics, but the various things that needed to be recovering and healing and forming different pathways. I still developing, in somebody of that age anyway, so therefore you've got more chance of being able to recover in that way. As opposed to somebody, looking much older. Yeah, I just find that whole thing, it's like, and a bit of the psychology as well, it's like, well, I was talking some other half about the power of the mind, and he was talking about what they call the 3 Ps, the 3 principles, and that, the sole focus, or not sole focus, but big premise of the underlying belief is that all feeling comes from thought, and you have the power to significantly affect how you feel and how you respond to things by affecting your power of thinking. And we see it time and time again. Various stories of people who have overcome the odds, people who've with faith and perseverance and positive thinking, and have said no, I'm not giving in to this, whether it be cancer or injury from brain injury or something else. So yeah, it's I don't know, I was also thinking that those stories of overcoming and perseverance and faith and not giving up and positive thinking also I think offer a bigger perspective when you're perhaps feeling a little bit despondent or a bit low or down, having a bit of a off flat day, whatever, or you're not feeling so motivated around something, and then watching, listening to, hearing those sort of stories and experiences, I do think can offer some perspective, put your own life and what you may, what you have into perspective, which is always important, I think. I know when I was a few years back now, when I was doing some of the work at Resilencevand hospice, and but part of that was, I think I was also quite, I think I was sort of wanting to almost be closer to death, if you like, in a way, to sort of see how whether it would potentially affect or influence or change something about my way of thinking, or actually maybe just offer a different, I don't know, meaning. Would it enable me to feel differently about what I think about, death and end of life and so on. And yeah, it was interesting because what I found, Willow, where's she gone now? Will, come on. Come on. I found that the closer I was to other people's experiences of their facing their own mortality, and also the relatives as well. The more I didn't feel so, I don't know, fearful or questioning stuff. I felt, just felt much more reassured and connected in some ways. I think as well as feeling quite connected and inspired, and felt really good actually, very fulfilled about it, very comfortable with that work and being around clients and their relatives. In fact, if anything, I always felt that, I think what I certainly took from it as well was that I think in that moment, in that period of time, however long that was, that actually you really could make such a big difference to the relatives and the family visiting, in those latter moments really as well, of them being with that person. And in fact, I was clearing some stuff, as I have been, and I came across the card. I say it's not a card actually, the card. The first guy, when I was doing some work there, the first guy that ever really, sort of got to know, spent that bit of time with, I think it was probably for about 2 weeks while I was doing the work at the hospice. I remember his family, particularly his wife, saying that they felt I'd really offered something of real benefit, real value, real comfort, I think, on some level. And she wrote me this card. And when he died, I remember going in there one day into the work, and a card had been left for me on the desk. And bear in mind, I'd only been there a couple of weeks, so at the time I remember thinking, who would have sort of left me a card with my name on? And it was actually a card from this person's wife, saying how much it meant to her. And that was just really, really, really important, really felt very meaningful. And also I do clearly remember that I think what was a bit pertinent as well was the guy had, his first name was the same as my dad's. He was actually relatively close in age, I think, to what my dad would have been, maybe a bit younger at the time. So I think there was a number of things that were also, at the time, connecting with me, that made it really meaningful. So I came across this card, and I still, I'm going to keep that, because that's just really important. Not important because you know that you can and do make a difference to people, but also, come back to what I said earlier, just offers a perspective on life. I remember a few times, I'd come out of Mary Stevens, and it would just, whatever was going on in my life, whatever things that, you may see as problems or issues or challenges or whatever, doing that work would just completely offer a different perspective. It's like, almost a sense of, what have I got to be concerned or worried about in comparison to the fact that somebody's actually just lost their life, and their friends and family have not going to see them again. So perspective. And I think, interestingly, we can actually put ourselves into particular situations to find some perspective as well. So guys, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a have a misty, wonderful. I'll make up a different word. My word. Have a wonderful Monday, and I'll speak to you later, guys. Take care. Bye.